Oh my god, is this on? Look, you can see the babies. What's up everybody? My name is Cassie, welcome back to my channel. No fancy intro or anything, we're just gonna jump right into it. Also, I was gonna do this as like a get ready with me, but I decided we're just gonna talk. We're gonna do a story time today. If you're here to hear about how my ex turned gay, or I guess more or less how I found out my ex turned gay. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. All right. Anyways, okay. Mama! Pause. Oh my gosh. Okay, I got her to sit in the back. Okay, anyways. Just for like a heads up, a lot of things happened to me in like 2015 and 2016, and I don't know why they all happened in like consecutively, like all in the same year. No idea why. It's a coincidence, I promise. For reference, my ex and I knew each other a little prior to that. We knew each other through a group of online friends at the time, and I completely forgot that we lived in the same state, and I didn't know what city he lived in particular, so we never met up prior to that. The timeline starts in my sophomore year of high school, and it was homecoming season. I went to my freshman homecoming with a group of friends, and so this was the first year where I would be going with a date. Because everyone wanted to have a date this year for whatever reasons. So I was reminded that this, what should I call him? Okay, I'm gonna call him Eric for privacy's sake. His name's not Eric, but we're calling him Eric for the story. I remembered that Eric lived in the same state. And so a friend of mine reached out to him and asked, hey, do you want to come to homecoming with us? And she's like, oh, can you message Cassie and like figure out the details and whatever. And I asked him to be my HOCO date. Like that. It wasn't anything fancy, okay? There wasn't like a big poster board. I was like, will you go to homecoming with me? Like, I didn't have one of those, okay? So basically he said yes. And what did we wear? Oh, I wish we had photos, but I threw them away because I like low-key burned them all. But we wore blue, that was our theme. I don't even remember what the theme was for that homecoming, but we wore blue. Where'd you come from? Do you see this? Do you see her? We hit it off, and like it's not like we were complete strangers because we knew of each other and we had talked a couple of times. So it wasn't awkward, which I was really thankful for. And then he just kind of ghosted me after that. Homecoming is in September, and we didn't talk again until December, I think. December, January, something like that. Granted, we never hung out like one-on-one, and we'd always just go hang out at the mall because like what else do you do when you're in high school, right? Oh, what the? Why are you attacking me? This is Luna. Okay. This is not my cat, by the way. This is my roommate's cat. Fast forward, he asks me out, I say yes. Our whole relationship dynamic was, I would call it a very push and pull relationship. Like we had like that bantering type of relationship. So it wasn't necessarily bad. Okay, there were a couple of red flags, but we'll get there. I promise we'll get there. But yeah, like our relationship otherwise like was good. So here's where my detective work comes in, okay? I knew prior to dating him that he had previous girlfriends. Like he dated other people before me, obviously. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I had no inkling, I had no thought in my head that was like, oh, maybe he's like potentially gay. He was kind of like fruity. He was kind of like girl, no, like kind of like that. But it never occurred to me that he could have been, you know, if anything, he would have been bi. And so I started doing some more digging. I don't know if anyone remembers, but there used to be like a website called Ask FM, and you could ask any question you want anonymously to that person, and they would answer and it would show up like on their feed. And that was the whole point of that website, was just to ask questions and get answers. I saw a question that was like something along the lines of like, oh, are you straight? And then he's like, oh no, I'm bi. And my mind exploded. When I tell you, I was not necessarily in denial, okay? There was nothing wrong in that moment that if he was bi, like I wasn't gonna break up with him or anything like that after like finding out. I just figured that I would have known this by now, I guess. And so I asked all of our mutual friends, and if they're watching this, you guys know who I asked, but I asked everyone. I'm like, am I the only one who didn't know this entire time? And then everyone's like, yeah, you're the only one who didn't know, I guess. And everyone's like, we thought you knew. And I was like, no, I didn't know anything. I didn't know shit. But again, like I said, it didn't change anything, okay? I still liked him the same. We were still dating. So after finding out he was bi, okay, then this is while we're together. At some point, we were going through like a rough patch in our relationship, and this is when I kind of started seeing the red flags. There are a couple of reasons why I say there's a couple red flags. One of the first things that comes to mind for me when I remember our time of dating each other. So I used to get grounded a lot during high school because of like grades, education, you know, typical Asian parent stuff. And I, like, whenever I would be grounded, like obviously no phone, electronics, whatever, he would go hang out with my friend at the time, like at her house. And there was a video they filmed, and I don't know if she's gonna watch this, but there was a video they filmed together, and it's like him putting on her makeup, like, oh, like my friend does my makeup type video. And she's like, oh my god, watch this video, like he came over today and like we hung out. And I was like, oh, okay. I forgot to mention this, but he is a year older than me, so he's a junior at this point in time. And I was like, okay, I'll watch the video. And so I was watching it, and in that video, he did kiss her cheek. And I didn't know how to feel. She and I were so close, and I was like, you know, she would never do that. So I let it slide, and that's on me, okay? I let that pass. But also during that time, like he and I were also like really hot and really cold again. Like that was our whole relationship dynamic, was being hot and cold. Fast forward a little bit after this, okay? It's like prom season, kind of. And he showed up to my house. He showed up with an Easter basket because he asked me in April and prom was in May. Came with an Easter basket and there's a bunch of eggs in it. He gave me a flower, he gave me a rose. And he's like, oh, here, like happy Easter. We went downstairs and he's like, oh, like you're not gonna like open the Easter basket? And I was like, sure. One egg happened to fall out. And I was like, oh, like I just picked it up and I opened it and it says, will you go to prom with me? And that was the first time I was ever asked to prom, ever. So after this, our relationship took a turn, kind of. And I noticed he was like not texting me as much and was giving me really dry replies, like one-word replies. And so I was just kind of like, what the fuck? Okay. I was like, maybe this is just another cold moment or whatever. And he texted me one day and he says he wants a break. Yeah, he wants a break. Granted, I was not one of those clingy girlfriends that was like texting him all the time, every single day. I'm not one of those. I'm a very like, go do whatever you want, just check in with me every once in a while type thing. Yeah, he's like, I need a break. I'm a junior, so I'm preparing for college apps. I'm in the play, because it's like springtime, okay? He's in the spring play. And I have band practice, and I have like all these things. And for me, it was just like excuse after excuse after excuse. And like, obviously I am sad, but I think I'm more upset than anything. I'm like kind of pissed. What is the break for? What do you need time for? Like, what are we even fighting about? I don't even remember if we even fought. Like, I don't even remember there being like a clear reason why we were on a break. So obviously I was just like, okay, then like, what about prom? Because I'm supposed to go to prom with you, and he already bought the tickets, and I already bought my dress. I was not about to not wear this fucking dress, guys, okay? I was gonna go to this prom whether or not he wanted to. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, like it's fine, like we can still go to prom, but we're on a break. Fast forward to prom. I met all of his friends, and they were all like band kids, and I'm a choir kid, so it was a little weird, but everyone was so nice, and everyone was like, oh my god, you're so cute, you're like you're a little sophomore, because everyone's like either a junior or a senior, because you can only go to prom if you're a junior or a senior. And because he's a junior, he brought me. I don't know if I said this before, but we went to different schools, so we never saw each other like in school, and so this was my first time meeting his school friends. Also, there were no clear terms to this break, by the way. There wasn't a deadline. There wasn't even clarification as to why we were on a break. That was like the worst day of my life. I was trying really hard to just kind of hold myself together to like make it through the night. I had a lot of conflicting feelings during that time. Truly, I don't know how I feel right now because I feel really betrayed. I'm upset because we're on a break, but I have no idea what the fuck that even means. And I have to sit here pretending to be your girlfriend because apparently none of them knew, and it looked like no one knew, or even like when we were having conversations, like nobody knew that we weren't together. By the end of the night, obviously there was like an after party that I wasn't gonna go to because I was checked out. I was checked out of that whole day. And oh my goodness, when I tell you, I did not know my entire family was coming over to watch there was a UFC fight happening that day, and all of my uncles were at my house. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, but you're gonna have to drop me off like a little further down the street because I don't want anyone coming out to like meet you and greet you. We're in this very awkward point in our relationship, and I don't want anyone to meet you at this point because if we're not gonna end up together, there's no point in bringing them home. That's also just like sisterly advice. Don't bring anyone home if you're not gonna end up together. Don't waste my time. I always say this to my sister, and she always brings home somebody, and I'm like, why? Why are you bringing him home? Anyways, that's just like a personal pet peeve. So he dropped me off down the street. Then I walked my ass to my house. And all of my uncles were like, where'd he go? Why isn't he coming in? Why isn't he saying hello? Blah, 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 blah. No. Not this time. You don't get to do any of that. And I was like, please let me just go and take this damn dress off because I am exhausted. So I went to bed and I made the decision to break up. I texted him and I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this whole break thing and I don't know what we are right now. And honestly, I am more upset and angry than I am like sad, and I don't really care what you have to say. So I broke up with him and he didn't say anything. And here's where the kicker comes in, guys. I found out that he was talking to someone not that much longer after we broke up, and it was a dude. Oh my God, it was a dude. I found out through Ask FM. So it all ties back to this fucking website, guys. I went to go like do some minor stalking because I was mad. I was so upset. The only reason I found out that he was talking to someone was because a friend had asked me like, oh, are you guys still together? I'm like, no, we're not. And she was like, I think he's talking to someone else. And then, you know, girls do what they do best, detective work. And what do you know? He's talking to some dude. When I tell you, this guy is cuter than my ex. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy, he's so handsome and he's so cute. What is going on? I was like, did I do this? As far as I know, he's bi. And I was putting the pieces together. Was I being used to like confirm that he's gay? And that's always been my lingering thought, was maybe I was just like a science experiment. I feel like that's what happened. And it's funny because when I started dating Minha, my current partner, he had reached out to me and, like really randomly one day and was like, hey, let's go hang out at the mall. For what? Like, what do you want from me? Because we haven't spoken in like a year and we ended off on not great terms. So what could you possibly want with me? And so I was like, okay, fine, I'll go on the condition that my other friend goes too. And Minha let me go. Okay, I asked Minha too, and I was like, is it granted? Like, that day went fine because we just hung out at the mall and I needed to grab clothes anyways, or buy clothes anyways. After that day, Eric texted me. He was like, oh, I miss you. I want to get back together with you, and I regret leaving things the way that it was, and I'm so sorry, and yada, yada, yada. And I am at that point where I'm like, your apology is long overdue. I do not care to have closure from our relationship strictly because I knew how fast you moved on, and I'm not, and like obviously I'm dating someone else now at this point. What you're saying to me means nothing. I'm so sorry, but it means nothing. And then that was it. I never heard from him ever again. During that time when Min and I got together, for some reason, dudes that I've either talked to in the past or like had crushes on in the past all started coming out of the woods and like messaging me and being like, oh my god, like I miss you, and like if you're not dating anyone, like hit me up. And this is a story for another time, but right before Min and I got together, there was another guy. On top of that, there was Eric. And so it was like, oh no, I don't know, there were so many things going on during that time. But ultimately, you know, Min won, so whatever. But yeah, that is the story of how my ex turned gay. And the reason is probably me. Actually, I don't really know what the reason is, but I hope nobody has to go through that, because I feel like I questioned myself a lot, especially after we broke up, because I was like, did I do something wrong for this to happen? Like, why was I the catalyst? And like, is there something wrong with me? I also like built a lot of distrust in men after that. Any good looking guy, I'm like, no, he's probably gay. No, he's gay. Anytime any dude like approached me, I'm like, are you potentially gay? Like, it was always on my mind that there was a possibility that they could have been. That's the end of my story time. I really hope no one else has ever gone through this. I cross my fingers, and if you did, I'm so sorry that happened to you. We can be victims together. Thank you for joining and listening to me rant about my ex and joining my story time. Yeah, if you guys are interested in hearing about the one who got away, or I did mention on my Instagram story about talking about girlhood and like girl friendships and what that looks like for me. And I know someone asked if I could talk about how to navigate like friendship breakups. And I feel like I'm definitely the right person to talk about that with. So yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of content coming out and planned for the next couple of weeks and months. So I hope you guys come back, and I will catch you guys again soon. I don't know what to do for my outro. It's so awkward. It's so awkward. Okay, bye.